And we are live or recorded. We're not live. We're on tape delay. No one's listening to this live. Anyway, it's episode 75. Definitely the expert. Sam, it's Connor. What's up, man?
What's up, Sam? How you doing?
Oh, it's another week in Corona land, Corona times. Uh, but we're trying to get back to sports, the old sportsaroo here, and it is not working. The so that was the big news with baseball starting up last weekend. The Marlins are up to, I think, almost 20 positive cases in their organization, and it just came out today that the Phillies have 2 positive tests, so their games are postponed for a little bit here. Baseball is struggling out of the gate here, and the NFL is doomed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. There's
There's no
nothing.
chance that the NFL works or finishes
If there
the
was
season.
any sort of hope, like blind faith that I had, that this would somehow, like, the NFL would somehow muscle their way through, like, it's basically been dashed away by the series of opt-outs that are now occurring, and I'm sure will probably progress as the NFL moves closer and closer to the actual start of the season. I think that there are like a lot of people that would play regardless of the situation, but I like you're saying with the MLB, I think the virus will literally just hemorrhage teams to the point of where they like cannot play. And then once you start canceling games in the NFL, like I mean, canceling a game in the NFL is much more significant than even the shortened season for baseball because their season is obviously even much shorter than the shortened baseball season. So the idea
Yeah.
of having to like I don't know, perhaps they could reschedule a game, but I don't know how far down the road you can keep putting games like on the back end of the season or if you can even do that. Anyway.
Yeah, the logistics of it are a nightmare. And yeah, exactly. 60 games is still a hell of a lot more than 16 in baseball. I mean, what the Marlins are going to have to do with canceling games this week, I think they're already down a compressed logistics timeline. I was reading a little bit into that, saying, well, I don't know what they're going to do. We got to probably play some doubleheaders somewhere and replace some games against one team with teams for another that are all-star were in Florida. So that's just a mess trying to figure that out. Assuming they can't even get to the finish line to make it happen. But yeah, you alluded to the opt-out list, and it's been this past week here in the NFL with training camp getting ready to open up here in the next week or so. I think some places already started, at least with rookies in the league here. But some of the big names here from the opt-out list already: Damian Williams, running back for the Chiefs, playoff Dame. So no more for him. I mean, this didn't register me at first, but man, I was all in fantasy world in our dynasty league. I was 100,000% all the way in first round pick. I'm taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he was gone before my pick came up in our second league, in our second go at it here. But man, he's even more valuable now this season because of this.
Yeah, so this obviously his value does increase with the departure of Damian Williams. I mean, before, like in a redraft league, his value was skyrocketing for like almost inexplicable reasons. Like he was starting to go in redraft leagues. I understand in our dynasty league why he would go in the first round. But in redraft leagues, he was going at like
Different animal
overall, and at the turn, which was I didn't understand it. I've done quite a few mock drafts, both before and after this news has broken here, and it was pretty insane just seeing how people value Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Considering the fact, I mean, when Damian Williams was still there, it was like, how does Clyde Edwards-Helaire get the start if there's absolutely no preseason? Like, how does that? I don't think that happens. Now, obviously, since Damian Williams is out of the picture, it's likely that Clyde Edwards-Helaire does get the start. However, I do think I mean, I've read a couple of things here. His value is going to, I mean, soar to like completely new levels in the next couple of weeks in fantasy drafts and mock drafts. I think the Chiefs sign a vet. I think they sign somebody like Devonta Freeman before the preseason, the offseason here, I guess, is over. I don't think they roll out with just Clyde Edwards-Helaire,
Yeah, that's
Darrell Williams, Darwin Thompson. I think they sign somebody.
Yeah, that's probably not a terrible idea to do that. It would have been, the guy who would have made the most sense, who was available up until today, would have been LaShawn McCoy, and he signs with the Buccaneers and is the biggest name and the most established guy, albeit on his last leg, so to speak, figuratively speaking, in that very thin, the otherwise very thin Buccaneers backfield. I mean, that would have been a perfect fit for the Chiefs. He was on the team last year.
Right,
But
even though he
alas,
didn't get a ton of work down the stretch there.
it's healthy scratches in a number of games, which is kind of odd to see.
Right, that's what I'm saying is
But
that he just like straight up was not involved at all in the game plan down the stretch. Yeah, so I mean we'll see what exactly happens there. DeAndre Washington is also he was signed by the Chiefs this offseason from the Raiders. I mean, so we'll see how things exactly break down in that backfield, but I mean I certainly in like a redraft league, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is he's gonna go way too high for my taste. Like I was doing a couple actually, so this is just after this news is broken, and so I'm not sure this is very accurate, but there's a lot of dudes grabbing him at like 7th overall, 8th overall, and
that's too high for in a redraft.
yeah, well, I mean, it's right. You're like going over like a lot of like studs, like Josh Jacobs. You're taking him over. I mean, notably guys like Aaron Jones, who finished as the RB2 last year.
Yeah, these guys that are on teams that will actually run the ball. I can't imagine that Andy Reid's going to look at Damien Williams being out and be like, well, we'll establish run now.
Yeah, right.
Like, this offense is 100%, is even more so now going through Patrick Mahomes. Oh, by the way, one of the starting guards is also on he was the first guy to opt out. I'm going to mess up his name. The Dr. Guard. Yeah, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif.
Yeah, so that was another thing. That. Yeah, that was that I was going to get to as well was, I mean, so he was a little bit more effective in pass protection than run blocking last year as a guard, but nonetheless having to move on to either a second stringer, or I don't even know if the Chiefs drafted a lineman this year. Either way, I mean, you're moving to a secondary option and having no sort of preseason, only having camp to work these kinks out. I mean, it just makes it's another factor to have to consider. So I again don't know if the running game is going to magically be better with Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the mix. It certainly is something that I think the Chiefs, by drafting him, were trying to address that problem. But I mean, I don't know, because Damien Williams obviously had a considerable success in the playoffs against some pretty staunch defenses. I don't know. Maybe they have figured it out. Maybe they didn't. We'll see. Anyway, do we want to soldier on to some other names here? People that
we can hit some of the highlights here. I'm looking at the Patriots had a mass exodus.
Yeah, I was gonna say the next thing to mention is the Patriots, who I think somebody on Reddit posted that something like 87% of the starting defensive snaps are now gone from free agency
snaps, or was it specifically linebackers?
Maybe it was linebackers.
I think I saw that same thing. I want to say I thought it was just linebackers.
Might have been linebackers.
I could be wrong. It might be defense.
Well, I think it was linebackers because I'm trying to think. Van Noy was on top, so it must have been linebackers.
Yeah, Dante Hightower was the biggest name. Yeah, Kyle Van Noy's gone. Jamie Collins is gone. Woof.
Yeah, a
Patrick
tough
Chung.
break. Yeah,
Patrick Chung on the defense is opting out.
Yeah, I mean, you got two dudes.
Danny Vitale.
Yeah. There was a lineman, too, I believe. Yeah, Marcus Cannon. He also opted out.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of names here, and it's hard to. I mean, if any team has been significantly affected by this, I mean, it's by and far the Patriots. So looking at some of these other names here, some notable people that have opted out. Let's go down the list here.
Well, close to home here, Devin Funchess, or the prized offseason pickup, has been now opting out.
Yeah, Devin Funchess is gone, and so a lot of people made a lot of good jokes about Packers' already thin wide receiver core becoming, paper thin at this point.
Well, it's back to where it was last year. It's now we're back to square one.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's discounting Reggie Begelton.
Yeah, the bagel man.
The bagel factor.
Exactly. Not considering that at all. Sleeping on him. In the same category,
it just takes it's a ding into the big baller offense, too. With you lose your big tall wideout, and you're just gonna line up him and 4 tight ends.
I know.
In that old 0-4 offense, no backs, 4 tight ends, 1 receiver.
Man, yeah, it makes me kind of sad, like the doom and gloom talk, because like these things obviously, like it's much less likely that these things happen now with like COVID really taking a serious uptick in the population. But like all these memes of the big boy offense that we were talking about earlier, it's like, oh, we might not get very many opportunities to see this in action.
Yeah, dream is dead in big time.
In any case, another wideout that opted out, Marquise Goodwin. He signed with the Eagles this past offseason. And so they're kind of in a similar situation where their wide receiver core was not great last year, we'll say.
To put it very lightly. Well documented.
So they drafted Jalen Reagor, and they got rid of, oh boy, what is his name? The guy who had the drops.
The guy who was getting made fun of in that firefighter video.
Yeah. My goodness.
Not Juju Smith-Schuster, but rather... Christ, I'm blanking on his name. I can picture him. He's wears number...
Not...
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, why is it...
Not J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
No.
It was not Jordan Matthews. What the fuck is his name?
It's not coming
Alshon
up
Jeffrey.
on my...
No,
not Mac Hollins. Nelson Aguilar.
not Brent. Jesus Christ, there it is.
Yeah, he wasn't coming up on my thing either. I had to find a roster. Yeah, Nelson Aguilar. Mr. Drops. So in any case,
Hey, but they got in Trey Burton to play tight end, so. Oh wait, no, they didn't. Never mind.
They had Trey Burton
roster.
before he went to the Bears. I think Trey Burton went somewhere else. Maybe not.
I think he did too. That's why that made sense to me in my mind.
The Colts.
because the Bears now have Jimmy Graham,
as well as 1,000 other tight ends. So in any case, I don't know. I think Marquise Goodwin was like an insurance policy for Deshaun Jackson in case he was injured again. Just having a speed, deep threat kind of guy is clearly something that the Eagles, like you were saying, was well documented. The Eagles wide receiver core just didn't have a guy like that last year. So I think he was more or less, a poor man's Deshaun Jackson, in case Jalen Reagor, who I think is the eventual permanent replacement for a Deshaun Jackson type of receiver on the Eagles, didn't necessarily develop as fast as they'd liked him to in his first year. So in any case, I don't know if it really affects
Marquise
them
Goodwin
a
in
whole lot.
himself. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, Marquise Goodwin wasn't really moving the needle on that offense. He's a nice veteran receiver presence to add a little stability in case they get into another situation where they were decimated. But I think they'll be okay moving forward without him, so long as everybody else stays healthy. Which, I mean, that's the big if for every team, really. That if you think you have any depth, or you try and shore up any position, that's all great until you get a rash of injuries somewhere. Or this season, you get a rash injury, or everybody gets sick, which is a very real possibility. So,
right.
So those are really most of the big names, right? I don't know if there's any other ones. Michael Pierce, the defensive tackle the Vikings signed. Well, I guess the other big one in the division, Eddie Goldman, kind of the anchor on the Chicago Bears defensive line, also opted out.
Yeah. Let's see. There was another one. Bills, maybe.
Star Latula, I can't say his last name. Defensive tackle.
Oh yeah,
Star
him. That's
Lutele.
definitely yeah. He opted out.
How do you say that?
I don't know.
You try it. Do it.
How to Lutulele. I think it's something like that.
Right.
In any case, yeah. So this is really just the beginning, though. I think of this whole thing, because as this thing states, this started with the Chiefs' right guard last Friday, and there have been a number of players that have been pretty vocal about how, how little, like, I guess, of safety measures that there have been, or at least visually to them. I mean, they didn't even come to an agreement until like last week, I thought, with the NFLPA and the NFL.
Yeah, they kind of threw it all together at the last minute here.
Yeah.
Well, and with respect to the opt-outs here, per the Ringer, August 4th is the deadline for players to opt out of the 2020 season. Now, what I assume that means is that that's the deadline to still receive your $150,000 stipend. I think probably after that point, I mean, I guess you can just not play, but I think you probably forego any stipend or your contract salary and other bonuses and what have you after that August 4th deadline.
Yeah.
So the next 5 or 6 days here, by about next week, this time next week, there's probably a lot more dudes on that list. So I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much this grows.
I agree. I don't know what this will look like before that deadline, but I mean, I don't know. I was saying it to you before the show started here, but once all this stuff started rolling in, and once the news about the Marlins sort of broke the airwaves, I mean, it felt like I was certainly taken down a peg with my expectations for what's going to happen in the fall here. It just doesn't seem like viable at all without. I mean, they clearly decided a long time ago that a bubble wasn't going to work, and I understand that. I don't know if it would have been like, obviously all the teams that are, or the leagues that are doing bubbles right now are, for one, they're only playoff teams, so there's significantly less traffic in both the NHL and the NBA by the sheer fact that they've just not included a bunch of teams. But also, I don't even know how you would begin to like plan some. Like, you would have had to have plans to do this thing, you know, back in almost like March when this whole thing was just starting to unfold.
Yeah, they would have had to start figuring this out right in March when this thing started really ramping up here in the States, and they didn't. And I don't necessarily blame them because we didn't. I mean, to a certain extent, we still kind of don't really know what we're up against. How much longer is this going to go on? I don't know. Nobody knows. So
right,
here
exactly.
we are. It is what it is.
Right. It was everybody knew the NFL was waiting to see what other sports did. So that's no news to anybody that this is what's going on now. But, you know, now it kind of just seems like this thing is waiting to be almost dead on arrival. It feels a lot, honestly, like the beginning of the school year with college here, the quote-unquote plans that they have set up for that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole that's another thing here is like NFL is doomed. College football is double doomed.
It's so funny, man, watching these like people.
Those rosters
post,
are so
like,
huge.
The rosters are so huge, but also it's like, I mean, there's even almost less. Like, there's less, you know, stuff in place to even try to disguise the fact that this is completely unsafe. Like, there are certainly way less safety protocol, you know, policies being followed at these colleges that are having training camp or whatever, because, like, what do they say? Like, what do they do? Like, how are you even supposed to, like, run a program like this? Like, it was the story with Rutgers. Like, their entire team is quarantined right now. The entire team.
Yeah, didn't that all stem from a party, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have 15 positive cases, and all came from like one party. Well, Michigan State self-quarantined too. The whole team there.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That was about a week ago or so. But they're, yeah, no, Michigan State's doing the same thing. Well, I mean, hey, at least we're not playing non-conference games.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all that's really been done in college football is, it's all Power Fives is like, well, we just no non-conference. We'll keep it all in conference, and then we'll let Notre Dame in the ACC this year.
Yeah, what it was.
There we go. Solved coronavirus. Problem solved.
Yeah, perfect. It's very safe now. I thought I saw that today, SEC announced that they'd play a 10-game conference-only football schedule and move back the start to September 26th.
ACC is doing 10 plus 1, 10 conference games, and then everybody gets a non-conference game. Big Ten's only conference games. I think Pac-12, right? Only conference games, and probably the Big 12 too.
Yep. So
that'll be a disaster.
Yeah,
I think I'm officially ready to give up my position, because I've been staunch in saying that I think college football is going to happen just because they can't afford not to. And Barry Alvarez came out, I think that was the end of last week maybe, or early this week, and he threw out some number. They're going to lose $100 million from the athletic department in Wisconsin, which isn't surprising. That's kind of what a couple weeks ago when stuff was coming out from the college football journalists out there were kind of on top of that, saying, hey, only like a dozen schools have any sort of like reserve funding to get through this. Everybody else every other like Division I program is solely reliant on on football revenue to fund all their other sports pretty much.
Yeah. So I mean that makes sense because I don't know how you account for like a once in a couple of lifetime like pandemic like hitting in the middle of something like the last time a pandemic hit like what the Spanish flu
Wasn't it literally 1920, literally 100 years ago?
Yeah. So I mean I don't know how you account for that. Obviously, you can't really. But in any case, the playing the waiting game to see like how things panned out. I mean, was obviously, pretty detrimental to all of these universities that chose that route because I don't know really what you can do besides do that or just come out and say nope, not happening. I understand wanting to wait and see if things improved rather than make that call too early, but at this point, I don't know. It just really doesn't seem like there's like no possible way if you have an environment like this, like how can you possibly equip yourself to contain something like this that spreads as fast as it does? I don't know. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be odd. I mean, I think I'm still really trying to fully wrap my head around a fall that has no college football, and potentially no NFL football either. But
yeah, it's gonna be a weird year. We'll soldier on. We'll get through it. A little bit of breaking news here. According to ESPN, they're reporting that the Major League Baseball and the union have agreed in order to play catch-up on some of these canceled games. They're going to shorten any doubleheader games to 7 innings.
Oh. Interesting.
So if they're playing twice on the same day, games are only going 7 innings.
Okay.
So there we go. They must have found that the coronavirus only strikes during the 8th and the 9th. Or it's just the 7th inning stretch, so... Oh, wait, that doesn't work.
Perfect.
Yeah, 8th and 9th inning. No more coronavirus.
We fixed it.
So,
yeah.
I don't know, that's an interesting tidbit. I don't think that really moves the needle on anything here.
No, I don't think so either.
Just an interesting wrinkle.
I might actually watch more of this NBA stuff, honestly, with all this stuff in my mind now, because this bubble obviously is working. And
hey, did you do something to your audio? Your audio is you're fuzzy now.
Is it good now?
It's good now.
Okay. In any case, yeah, I don't know.
Did you try
What?
watching any baseball here in the first weekend?
Not really.
I watched a little bit of it. I watched probably 4. Yeah, I watched like 4 innings of the Brewers, and then I think it was the opener. I watched like the last 2 innings and saw them lose. I flipped it on in the 3rd, I want to say, on Saturday, and said, baseball, kind of boring. So, NBA, I might give that a shot this weekend.
Did you see the picture that Joe Kelly posted after his whole throwing at the people thing?
Thrown at the Astros, yeah, exacting his revenge. I did not see. I saw he got suspended. I didn't. What did he post?
Oh man,
I saw the clip. I saw the John Boy breakdown and was very, very much enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me find a. Here it is. Yeah, I found it. So, yeah.
I've never heard of Joe Kelly before this week.
I hadn't either. To be honest, you reminded me of that.
Was he on the team? Was he on the team back in 18 that lost?
No, I don't think so. He was on Boston. He just joined the Dodgers this year, didn't he?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So he's quoting Conor McGregor here. That's good. I'd like to apologize to absolutely nobody. Fantastic.
That coupled with the picture and this like just terrible Photoshop job is what like one of the best things
It's
ever.
probably a picture of him and his kids, but yeah, but he just very haphazardly slapped the faces of I don't know who these people are. It's probably Lance or Alex
Correa,
Bregman.
Altuve, and yeah, Alex Bregman.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's cradling them.
Yeah.
And then just the last line in there, just wait till I get out.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. He signed in December of 2018
He's not done. He's coming back for more.
with the Dodgers.
Oh, so right after
Yeah.
that World Series.
Yeah. So in any case, yeah, this dude, hilarious.
New favorite baseball player.
I know. Well, it was really funny watching the John Boy breakdown of it because it was like, oh, he's just like having a pretty hard time. And then yeah, he goes up 3-0 and he's like, whatever, I'll just throw it at his
Fuck
head. Does the mental math. I can probably just throw it at him.
Yeah, what's the score? They got base runners where? Like, all right, yep, nope, we're good. I really enjoyed at the end when he's leaving, when he's walking off the mound there. He's making all the silly faces. That's really good.
There was a good commentator shot today. Altuve struck out. And one of the commentators was they must have caught him guessing because he was caught looking on the third strike there, and the other commentator immediately chimed in and said, "Yeah, it's harder to guess than to know." Just without missing a beat.
Nice.
It's like, ooh. Yeah, so in any case, yeah, I don't know. It's Rob Manfred has been criticized pretty like openly by players surrounding this whole Astros incident, as well as his handling of like the MLB trying to return. And man, like the more I learn about him, it's like, oh yeah, like trying to power rank the commissioners of these leagues. Like what? How would that?
It's got to be Adam Silver 1.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
And
say.
a tie for last.
You think so?
I don't know.
How's the
Goodell
how's
2?
the? Yeah. Well. What about the?
Number 2 and the Gary Bettman.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't know anything about Gary Bettman.
I don't know. I think I don't know anything either, but I know all the hockey people hate him.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, we'll do that then. Adam Silver 1, and then a tie for last for everybody else. Rob Manfred, Gary Bettman, Roger Goodell.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it, about what's going on with those other cats are up to know to differentiate those three at the bottom. Oh well.
Yeah, oh well. Well,
that's the kind of decisive content people tune in for.
That's right. All right. Well, here's something I wanted to share with you. So, my law school group chat, somebody piped in and was like, "Hey, does anybody want to start a fantasy football league?" And I saw this, and immediately my interest was piqued. And so, like, absolutely, yes, I do. And so here we go. This thing's starting, and we out of this like I was honestly surprised at how many people joined. It's a 14-team league, right? So he makes this group, and it's like, all right, 14-team league. This should be interesting. I mean, 14 teams, pretty big league, and so we get in there, and he's like, hey, all right, like, what's up, dudes? Here's what I have. He's like, I figured I'd just do half PPR, quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, tight end, flex. That's the format of the league. And
pretty standard.
yeah, so it was like, okay, cool. He's like, what do you guys think? Maybe we should just we can talk specifics and we can talk draft dates. So I was like, I threw out there, I was like, I like this. Specifically, I like the fact that there's no kicker in defense in this league. I was like, I figure we could just keep it. And I was like, if you really want to spice things up, maybe we can add Superflex. And immediately, 3 different people were like, absolutely not. I want kicker in defense.
What?
And I was like, what? I was like, I couldn't tell at first. I thought one dude was being facetious, and then maybe he was, and then 2 other people piped in and were like, yeah, I prefer to play with kicker and defense, and definitely not Superflex. And so
yeah, the fantasy football purist in me, from playing back when I was like in 5th or 6th grade or something, when I started, was like, yeah, kicker and defense. Until I did it 1 year without kicker and defense. It might have been last year was the first year I did a league without those 2 positions. It's like, oh, this is so much easier. This is so much nicer. Not have to worry about streaming these goddamn these positions that just there's so much volatility and variance that I don't know what we're getting here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand also that I'm pretty biased because I listen to a podcast where these guys cannot they absolutely hate the idea of playing in a league with kicker. Absolutely kicker, because kicker is just it's so dumb that you could totally swing a week based off of a kicker kicking 5 field goals in a game. That shouldn't really be the case. It shouldn't. The kicker is certainly, in those weeks in football, yeah, I don't know, scoring 15 points is no small feat whatsoever. But the idea that you have to, every single week, it's I don't know, there's certainly no skill involved in it. It's, you could pick any guy. It's just almost playing Russian roulette with kickers. You get a guy who kicks 5, or you could get Mason Crosby who misses 5. I don't know.
There's Justin Tucker and everybody else.
Pretty much, and even then, it's these people that are, it's drafting the quote unquote good defense. You end up taking somebody like that in the draft, and it's if you're taking this dude at any point, before the last round, and even then, a lot of dudes are don't even take either kicker or defense at any point because you're just gonna stream them. You take a guy that has a good week 1 matchup if you have to in the last week or in the last round of the draft. But in any case, yeah, so I was sad to see that because it's man, fucking hate. I gotta, all right, I'm taking Kymie Fairbairn here. All right. Or, I gotta look, all right, which defense am I picking up here? Okay.
Boy, give me the Panthers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Give me the Washington football team. So, and then one of the dudes is absolutely no super flex, which I was also kind of sad about because it's been something I've been. The rationale behind putting super flex more. Having it be in more leagues as a staple thing is something that I have been turned on to, and something that I think I agree a lot with. Now that people put it into like more generalized context, like I don't know, the quarterback in a draft for fantasy football, like you could get a good quarterback like in probably the 10th round of your fantasy draft. Like a solid dude. Like you could probably get Matt Ryan in like the 9th round.
You get a solid, productive guy that's going to put up numbers every once in a while. It might have some stinkers, but he's going to put up some numbers at some point.
Exactly. Right. That, or
Plus, I guess
can...
the rationale for doing the Superflex is just more fun. Hell yeah, I want to play 2 quarterbacks. Defense kickers, who cares? Give me the guys that I know.
Right. Well, it's like it's not a like a 2 quarterback league, but it's you are obviously quarterbacks are more likely to score more points, but like the idea that you can throw a quarterback in there, but if you got a loaded running back committee, like put 3 running backs in there. You got 3 dudes who have solid situations, like maybe you drafted like a Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb has contracted the COVID. It's like, all right, I'm gonna plug in Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, and Kareem Hunt, all RB1s for that week. Or do I stream
I think the
Kareem
lineup
Hunt
construction
over like
is so
Drew
much
Brees?
more interesting, so much more fun potential to be fun there.
Right, yeah. So, yeah. In any case, I was on one hand, I was a little sad to see that because it's like, oh, I don't really like playing kickers and Superflex is fun, but on the other hand, if I got a bunch of blokes saying that they like playing kicker defense, it's like, all right, fam. I see where we're at with this whole thing. Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
So in any case,
so how many fantasy leagues
we'll
are you
see.
in right now?
I am in 1, 2. I sent a message on Sleeper, and I don't know if anybody got it, to our Tundra Tenor 1. But I was going to probably send a Facebook message about it.
Pick a draft date and do it.
Well, I was going to send a Facebook message just telling everybody, because I don't think anybody got it, even though it says I invited everybody back to the league, but I was going to send a message at the beginning of August just saying, hey, what's up, fam? Let's do this thing, and host it sometime, somewhat close to the start of football season to see if we could get something accurate, so we don't have any more Damian Williams opts out deals.
Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely do that. Do it. I don't know, that first
literally like
sometime
Labor Day.
The last week in August, first week in September.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday or the Wednesday night before the Thursday game.
Yeah. So, yeah. So with that, I think so. That's 3, and then this law school would be 4. And I might leave. I'm in this one dynasty league that is just like, I don't think I really want to be in this league. It's like, it was an interesting. So it's kind of like the opposite of our dynasty league, where our dynasty league is it's very small rosters, and so there's a lot of like stacked teams. So I guess it's not really the opposite of that. It's really just the opposite of like roster size here. Let me tell you what this roster size is for this dynasty league here. So it's also a PPR league, which makes things even more fun because then you get guys like Christian Kirk who are like more than fantasy reliable, off of a stat line of like 11 catches and like 11 yards. So we've got 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 3 flex spots, kicker, defense, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bench spots and 2 IR spots.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got some real players on our bench here. I think I already told you about this roster, but yeah, it's got some real fantasy studs. Which is kind of interesting because then like you go to the waiver wire and it's like, all right, you know, who's on the waiver wire? You know, who could I pick up if there's a pinch here? And it's like go to the running backs, and the top running back on the running back waiver wire is Raquel Armstead, followed by Benny Snell, Jalen Samuels, and Kyle Juszczyk.
Woof.
Ooh.
Woof, woof, woof. Yeah, so you got whatever's on your roster, that's what you got.
Pretty much.
That'd be a really silly exercise just to go through and make the roster size infinite, and then just pick up and make sure every player's claimed. Every player that they have in their database.
Just try.
I know Sleeper had like a bunch of dudes that are just not in the league. Like you could still get Jay Cutler, you could get Tim Tebow. They still had profiles that you could still get those dudes.
Get
Frank Gore,
Antonio Brown. Frank Gore's still in the league, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
He's with whatchamacallit, the Jets, on Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, all right. Well, you know who's not in the league anymore? Adam Vinatieri.
Oof. A big hit to the kicker community.
Is Adam Vinatieri a first ballot Hall of Famer?
You have to think
Or does
so,
he gotta wait a
right?
few years? I think he's definitely a Hall of Famer, but when does he go in? I think that's the question now. Is it immediately when he's eligible, or does he gonna get passed over a few times until he get a thin Hall of Fame class?
Well,
I have no idea. I don't know who's coming up, who's still in the pipeline of.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably some notable dudes that arguably are. I don't know. I don't know if you could say they're more important. Adam Vinatieri is obviously just iconic because he's it's the stats were all over the place last year of like because he's 47 or whatever. So like it was like, oh yeah, his first year in the league, like this person literally wasn't even born. Or, you know, I played with this dude's dad or something. Like all these like crazy things. Looking at his like thing, he went to the Pro Bowl 3 times and he was all pro 3 times. Won 4 Super Bowls. I thought he'd have more all pros, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at this list of. Okay, this list is not up to date. Best 15 NFL players not in the Hall of Fame, and Kurt Warner's on the list. Like, well, he's in. Peyton Manning is in, right? Is he in yet?
Peyton Manning?
Yeah, Peyton Manning's in, right? He's still coming up. I don't remember. T.O.'s definitely in.
Yeah, his thing was a big thing.
Yeah, Jerry Kramer, he's in. Randy Moss is in.
Peyton Manning officially becomes Hall of Fame eligible for the first time next year for the class of 2021.
Oh, okay. I think he's first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think so
that's
too.
a hot take. Calvin Johnson also.
Yes. So there are probably a couple of people.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't get too caught up in who goes and when, but that's really the only debate at this point.
I mean, I think really the only thing I appreciate about the Hall of Fame is the guy who knocks on the door. Whatever his
David
name
Baker.
is. Yeah. It's very friendly demeanor.
as a whole, though, that organization just seems like it's one big like. It reminds me a lot, honestly, of like the old like drum corps enthusiasts like boards and stuff. Like the all the folks that just,
DCI
like,
DCI
talk.
Planet.
Yeah, well, like kind of like that whole mentality, but almost like it's almost like reminiscent of like how I perceive like DCI like booster like organizations like their boards, like how they talk about like the glory days of this activity, and how they discuss the merits and achievements side by side with some of the most iconic like people of yesteryear. And it's like all for what, for some reason, like you got like the Pro Football Hall of Fame, like for some reason you guys are important now because you decide who gets to go in this little itty bitty ring of honor here for this whole league. And it's like, I don't know, I think I have a sour taste in my mouth after the Deion Sanders interview where he was talking about like the way that they tell people. Like, I had no idea that they had like potential people in the exact same room as the person that they came in and like knocked on their door for. Like, I was like, what? You seriously, you can't get a different room for these other people? Like, you can't. I suppose maybe there's something like that, but then, yeah, somebody knocks on their door, it's like, hey, man, you didn't get picked. Hey, man. Yeah.
But they still film that, and they still release that video. That'd be good. I'd just like to inform you, better luck next year.
Yeah, it's still David Baker, but he's much less friendly. Hey, man, you got to be out by 11. It's the hotel policy.
Also, your cards decline. We're not comping your room.
Have fun paying for this. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Between that and like how it was really funny watching the TO Hall of Fame thing go down because they got so mad that he just declined the invitation to come to the ceremony. Because he was snubbed a couple of times after he became eligible. And so to watch them get like very publicly infuriated at how he like just said, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, no,
I
that
like
definitely.
that.
I know the TO thing was that was big news when that was going on, and I didn't fully understand it. But hearing that thing from Dion, I was like, oh, okay, well, I kind of get it now. I understand. I'm more empathetic to why TO did what he did it the way he did.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, it's an acceptance speech for a Hall of Fame. It's not the end of the world. However you want to do it.
Oh, I didn't realize the Colts drafted Rodrigo Blankenship.
Did they draft him or did they pick him up undrafted?
I think they drafted him.
I don't know. I'm not sold on Rodrigo Blankenship.
Why? Oh, he was an
I think it's
undrafted
the
free
glasses,
agent. I'm sorry.
but yeah, I think it's the glasses or the rec specs. I feel like I remember missing a handful of big kicks. I know he was always touted as this really great college kicker, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't find.
Rodrigo
I don't,
Blankenship.
I'm not on I'm on a Wikipedia page because I remembered him, also being touted as like he's like the kicker in this class. Kickers drafted in 2020.
Let me go to RodrigoBlankenship.com. There's sports reference. That's what I want. All right, so at Georgia, he was 14, 18, 20, 23, 19, and 23. Yeah, he missed 6 kicks this last season, 27 to 33. I mean, none of these numbers just makes on attempts are bad. They're all, solidly in 80% all 4 years. 77% his freshman year, but that's pretty good. I don't know what his range. What's his range? Doesn't say here. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's solid.
Walter Football had him as the number one kicker. Honestly, I don't even know. Oh, here. The Bills drafted kicker Tyler Bass in the 6th round.
Where's he from?
Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I can't say I've watched too many Georgia Southern games. I'm not up and up on my Georgia Southern special teams units.
Oh, the Patriots they drafted a kicker, didn't they?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, they did. They drafted that Justin Rohrwasser because he had
Justin Verlander.
He had the racist tattoo on his his body, arm or something. Anyway,
well, you got anything else we need to get to here?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers
It's
it.
just all doom and gloom.
It kind of. I bide my time, and I'm really trying to savor the football taste buds. I've been just addicted to doing mock drafts on Sleeper. You can just do mock drafts with other people like at any point of the day. Like there's like a fantasy football chat channel and a mock draft thing, and literally like I think it's because people are just so bored with COVID. Like you can usually wait like 10 minutes and there'll be like a 12, like somebody will just post 12 team half PPR draft. And it's awesome. And everybody tries. Everybody like, plays it like it's a real draft.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you know what I've done to satisfy my football taste buds?
What?
Gone back to Wool Reliable. Back on my fuck shit. I'm playing Madden.
I thought you've already been doing that.
No, I was playing NASCAR for a while, and I switched back to Madden.
Oh, we switching back and forth and back and forth.
Yes. That's how I fucking play, man. I play one game at a time. Same way I eat. When I eat something, if I have like a 3-course meal that I'm eating, I will eat one thing at a time. Like if I have a plate of eggs, a plate of sausage, and then some sausage and like some potatoes or something, I will eat the eggs first, the sausage second, the potatoes last. No mixing, no crossing the streams.
One by one.
I've always done that. Don't ask why. I don't know why. It's just what I do. It's how I operate. I do the same thing when I play video games. I was like, okay, I'm gonna play Madden and only Madden. Yes. Very regimented.
Purist.
So I will play Madden now until I get absolutely sick of it, and then I will switch to another game and play that incessantly until I get sick of that one, and then switch to something else, and then probably eventually circle back.
Perfect.
I don't know what that says about me, but sound off in the comments. You think I'm a psychopath?
Are you gonna do another? Are you doing franchise mode in Madden?
Yep, started a new one with Cincinnati. Boy, these rosters are not getting any younger.
No,
Taking
they are
over the
not.
Bengals. Yeah, I got the three-headed receiving core of Chad Johnson, T.J. Houshmandzadeh, and Chris Henry, who's now deceased.
Boy. T.J. Houshmandzadeh.
Quarterbacked by Carson Palmer.
Oh yeah, old Carson.
You know who's on one of the linebackers? The backup linebacker is the guy from College Game Day. Fuck, what's his name? Played at Georgia. Who's on that show? What? I never. Oh, David Pollock. That's who it is.
Ah. Played at Georgia?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
University of Georgia, linebacker.
Nice. Well, sounds like it'll be a fun franchise to run. See what happens.
Always is. Yeah, I've completely broken the game now, right? I tried to, well, I was going to say I tried to score a touchdown every possession, but I think that's what every offense ever has tried to do. But no, anytime I score, I'm going for 2. I'm going for it every single fourth down. I'm kicking onside kicks every single time. The real video game Madden stupid stuff.
Yeah. The real stupid stuff. Yeah.
But it's all we got. It's all we're going to have this year, I think.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying, man. You got to invest in a next gen console. Because they've already updated the rosters for 2020 here.
Mm-hmm. I should.
Get it, and that'll be our content week by week.
We'll just stream the season.
Yeah, well, and then talk about what happens. Oh, all right. So
We'll break it down. All right, this week, yeah, just have to do the sim season.
exactly, where you
I
play
like
as
that.
a underdog team like the Jaguars.
Like the Washington football team.
Yeah, or the Washington football team. An unlikely hero emerges in the ashes of the COVID season. Or somebody like trying to think here, one of these unlikely teams.
Did I tell you about the guy who won? I don't know if you heard that or saw the article or the news thing. Whatever the last Madden Bowl or Madden Championship was. Did you hear about this? Where the guy who won the thing, his quarterback was like Tress Way, the punter for the Washington football team.
What?
Yeah, so it was. It must have been set up like. Shit, what was that? What's the game mode where you have like a budget and you have to build your roster with, and it was basically you're playing DraftKings,
Like Mutt?
but with Madden. So you had to. Yes, use MUT. Jesus Christ. So he did that. So he spent all his money on defense and then just paid as little money as possible for like quarterback and just ran the ball every single play and just milk clock the whole game. That was his strategy, and it worked. So he just had a stacked defense and then just a good enough offense. So pretty much the opposite of what I'm doing.
The reason I went with Tress Way as a punter and as a quarterback is because he's lefty. In Madden, if you have a lefty quarterback, they hand the ball with their right hand, and righty quarterbacks hand off the ball with their left hand. What?
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 So what difference does it make?
I wanted to have a lefty and a righty so I could run the ball a few different ways.
Wait, so he subs in different quarterbacks depending on which way he wants to run the ball?
Yeah, he said he has a very low-rated Eli Manning on his roster for whenever he wanted a right-handed quarterback.
Jesus. All right, that's a little deeper than I've ever dove into a game. I haven't broken down the efficiency of handoffs between right and left-handed quarterbacks.
I didn't even know that affected anything.
No, me neither.
Honestly.
Ooh, I saw this. I think it's the NASCAR subreddit. Someone was playing NASCAR Heat, whatever the latest video game, NASCAR game that's out. And he's like, "Oh, look at this fun glitch I found where if you're like going, so you just like pause the game rapidly. So if you go pause, you just speed up between pauses. So then you're going 20 miles. You're going like 50 miles an hour faster than anybody on like a restart. By the time you get to the back straightaway somewhere, it's like this game is great, very very realistic.
This is a cheese. Why does this happen? Why do I speed up after I come out of a pause? Nice.
No.
You love to see
Well,
it.
that's video games, huh?
Yeah, that's talking video games. All right. In any
Stay
case,
tuned for that content. We're gonna get out of here and have ourselves a weekend, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the
Whatever.
flippity flip.
Yeah. Shout out the office.